Hi there, welcome back. All right, so in this lesson, get ready to be shook. All right, so in this lesson, I want to cover how to check for your porosity levels. You're probably wondering, yeah, I already know already. I've already done this test multiple times. I know my porosity level, da. But remember, in the introduction, I talked about the fact that majority of the information out there that you already know about porosity, they are commonly false, and so that's why I am dedicating an entire module just to porosity. So make sure that you are listening, with an open mind and that you are taking notes as well. All right, so there are actually two main ways to check for your porosity level, and you probably just know about one method, right? Okay, so the two main ways are, the strand test or the water float method, which is what you are probably used to already. So whenever you do this test, you will always want to make sure that you use, freshly washed hair, right? By that I mean hair that you washed with shampoo, right? Not just, conditioner, right? So the first method, right, that you are probably used to will be the water flow method. So the water flow method, you have a cup of water, and then you're gonna put your hair strand in it, and then wait for it, and just track how long it takes, right? So if your hair strand floats, it means you have low. If it goes in the middle, it takes a while to sink. It means you have normal. If it sinks very quickly, it means you have, high porosity hair. Yeah. So that's pretty much, what right now about how to check for your porosity level, right? And I covered this, in the previous lesson. All right. So, but you do know though that this method, it is not scientific, and you should stop doing that like right now, right? And the reason for that is because a lot of ladies, team co-wash, team curly girl method, team whatever, usually when they do a water flip method, the hair will probably have, a lot of product built up or grease or whatnot on it. So obviously, your hair might stay afloat because water and oil do not mix, right? So your hair might stay afloat, or you might not even get an accurate measurement result. And also remember in the previous lesson when we talked about hair typing, I said, sometimes you can have a mixture of hair thickness level, right, on your head, right? So you can have fine hair, medium hair, and thick hair, right? So depending on the hair strand that you use, depending on your hair thickness, if you have fine hair, your hair will probably stay afloat, right? Um, yeah. And then if you have thick hair, right? So again, because it's so heavy, it might sink. Just confusing. Because I've done this method a few times and I always get different results and I just get so confused. And also hair on different parts of your head and also on different parts of your hair shaft would also have different porosity levels. So it's kind of hard to judge your hair, the entire hair on your head based on just one single strand of hair, right? Okay, and also finally, right, based on what we know right now about cuticles, right, we know that, it's possible to have one strand of hair with different cuticle levels, right? Because hair closer to your roots will have healthy layer of cuticles. Hair towards your ends will probably have damaged cuticles, right? Meaning, you're gonna have a higher porosity, right? So, like I said, the water flow method, it is not scientific, it is not accurate, and it's possible to get different results every time, and which can leave you confused, right? And I'm gonna share, the best way to test. All right, so the second method will be this strand test, right? So the strand test, that's when you're gonna take a hair shaft, a hair like shed of your head, and then you're gonna run your fingers, right, up your hair shaft, right? And you're going to work your way down towards the root, right? So, yeah, so like I said, you're going to run your finger, up your hair shaft, right? So from the root from your end towards your roots, right? So, and this is what they pretty much, what they many people out there say about the strand test. So, if you feel some bumps, right, as you proceed up the hair shaft, it means that your cuticles are raised and you have high porous hair. But if it's smooth, then that means your cuticles are closed and you have, low porous hair or normal porous hair. Again, this method, it is junk science. It is junk science. Please stop doing it because it doesn't make sense. And I'm going to explain why this method is invalid and you should stop doing it. All right. So we can see, right? So this is the yeah. So this is the normal. Actually, wait. Normal arrangements. Okay. Yeah, okay. So this is your hair going down, right? All right. Um, yeah, so as you guys can see, like that method is just, confusing. Okay, so this is the normal arrangement of the hair shaft, right? So let me just go back here, right? Yeah, so this is when you go from the root to the ends, right? So that's how your cuticles will be arranged, right? From the root to the ends, right? Okay, so usually, when you run your fingers down, from the root to the end, it should feel smooth, right? But when you do it the opposite way, right? Meaning you are going from the ends to the root, from the ends to the root. Guess what's gonna happen, right? Obviously, you're gonna feel some bumps, right? Because your fingers are going against, the arrangement of the cuticle levels, right? So when you run your fingers from here down here, you're gonna feel some bumps, and you might even raise and chip some of those cuticle layers, right? But when you run your fingers, the normal way, from the roots to the ends, it should feel smooth or at least, close to it. But when you do it the opposite way, you are guaranteed high porous hair because you are just going against the arrangement of your cuticle layer. So yeah, so this is why this method isn't right, right? Yeah. So yeah, so this covers what I just said, right? So when you run your fingers on your hair shaft, you'll feel smooth, but when you go the opposite direction, it'll feel rough, right? So yeah, all right, so you're wondering, okay, so now the two popular methods, you're telling me they are wrong, but how can I check for my hair porosity? All right, so to check for your hair porosity, what you're gonna do is you're just gonna use the common sense approach, right? So the common sense approach would be to just observe. So observe how your hair absorbs moisture, right? And how long it takes your hair to feel soft, right? And to stay moisturized for after applying products, right? That is just a common sense method to finding out, what your hair porosity is, right? So the two methods, the float method and the strand method, as we know right now, they are just, they don't make any sense and you need to stop doing that right now. The best method will be just to use your common sense and just observe, right? Observe how long your hair stays moisturized for. If it stays moisturized for at least a day, good news. If it only stays moisturized for like an hour or two or so, then yeah, then you have high porosity, and we should work on reducing that porosity. And I'm gonna share how to lower your porosity in an upcoming lesson. So as usual, if you have any question relating to this lesson, please drop it in the comment section below, and I'll come back to respond to that.